Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to a massive live show. So much news, stories coming in. One deal has just been done out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere. A deal has been done and completed for Vivell, and this is a fantastic signing. This is a fantastic deal. We will explain why. Reports now of Rashford leaving, £80 million. Ugarte Greenlight, Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that. A big boost in the Zirkzee case. His talks with Ten Hag have been confirmed. Zirkzee and Ten Hag have been on the phone. Ligt, the price is set. Wan-Bissaka could leave. There's so many news and stories coming out about Manchester United today, and obviously just getting a deal done out of nowhere is what you love to see. So guys, please do hit that like button if you have not already, and of course subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new and want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, takeover news and more, because massive changes are happening. Obviously the first one, which we spoke about a little bit in last night's video, was Vivell. Christopher Vivell becomes new Manchester United Director of Recruitment, short-term deal agreed, and also green light shortly over work permit. Vivell has already accepted the proposal after Chelsea experience. He wants Premier League return and he's signing for United. So we've got confirmation, first of all, on the Vivell deal. We will talk about Ugarte, Zirkzee and everything else later in the show, but Vivell is a huge signing for Manchester United. A massive, massive deal, and we're going to break down why. Now, first of all, I'm going to give you a bit of insight on Vivell. He was Chelsea technical director. He's worked as Chelsea technical director for periods of times. He's worked as an RB Leipzig squad planner. He's worked as technical director at RB Leipzig as well. He's worked as a sports coordinator and head of scouting at RB Salzburg. And what's really good about Vivell is he has experience working in a multi-club network, which is essentially what INEOS is. He has experience doing some really good work, some really good signings and deals. So if we look at this here, Manchester United's new recruitment director, Vivell's impressive signings include Haidara of RB Salzburg, Szoboszlai of RB Salzburg, Karim Adeyemi, Erling Haaland, Benjamin Sesko, Minamino and Naby Keita are all people he brought into RB Salzburg. Now, obviously, not a lot of those players didn't necessarily make it, like Keita and Minamino, but they were very good players for RB Salzburg. You know, Benjamin Sesko is one that people talk about. Erling Haaland's one. His eye for a striker is very good. You know, Szoboszlai is another good player. You know, his recruitment and the RB clubs has been good. RB Leipzig, Angelo, Guardiola, Timo Werner, Simakan. Now, Simakan's a good player. I'm surprised Man United haven't actually had a look at him at the centre-back signing. He's done some really good deals and some really good work at the RB clubs, and he's got experience working in the Premier League. He's got experience working at the RB clubs as well, and obviously working with Rangnick. And as Alex said here, working with Rangnick is promising, and the RB clubs in general are super well known for the recruitment. Yeah, the RB clubs are some of the best run clubs, some of the best known clubs, and their recruitment is brilliant. Apparently, Bayern Munich fans have created a petition to keep De Ligt at the club, which for me I see as a positive, because I had a few doubts around the De Ligt deal. But if Bayern Munich fans are desperate to keep De Ligt, it makes it a bit more it makes it a bit more appealing for us as well. But yeah, as someone that's worked with Rangnick, and we know how good the RB clubs are when it comes to recruitment, we know what their track record is. I mean, for me, it's a fantastic signing for Manchester United. A fantastic, fantastic signing. Ashworth, Barada, Wilcox, and Vivell coming in. You know, experienced people. You know, of course, we didn't get Paul Mitchell, or there's no Doogie Friedman, but I just think to actually go from Woodward, Murta, Arnold, Judge to then these guys, it's like going from Susan Boyle to Margot Robbie. It's like a massive, massive change, and a massive change that Man United have just needed for so long as well. Ugarte can give United plenty of strengths and improve the team, absolutely. I think Ugarte, like I was watching Ugarte for Uruguay, and like, yeah, he's not known for being good on the ball, but I think he's a bit better on the ball than people are giving him credit for. Like, people were making out that Ugarte was crap on the ball, but I just watched his last two games for Uruguay, and I thought, for the most part, there was something there as well. So I think that, you know, I think tacticos are just being a bit too negative about the Ugarte deal. INEOS certainly sorting the executive structure quite well. Now time to sort player in and out, and I completely agree with Alex. I am glad. I'm going to start this off, and I do apologise that I look really rough today. The lighting's not doing me any favours, but I do want to say this. INEOS have done sporting stuff, and that's brilliant. Ruud van Nistelrooy, René Hake, Dan Ashworth, and Vivell all agreed in the last week. That is 4 brilliant additions, 2 on the coaching staff in Rene Hake and Ruud van Nistelrooy, and then Christian Vivell and Dan Ashworth are coming into United. That's 4 great deals. We've got Barada, we've got Wilcox, we've got Ashworth, who's now in, and we've got Vivell working with Ten Hag, creating a structure around Ten Hag, and we've also got 2 really good assistant coaches around Ten Hag in Rene Hake and, of course, Ruud van Nistelrooy that could have done much better jobs than assistant jobs. They could be head coaches themselves at good clubs. Ruud van Nistelrooy turned down the Burnley job. So, it's been really good to see that INEOS were very clear on when they spoke about Ten Hag. They said they're not going to say anything because it's unfair to judge a manager when no manager succeeds in this Man United environment. INEOS is agreeing to what they said. They said they're going to change the Man United environment. Now, whether they wanted to do that and bring Tuchel in, that's a big question mark around it. But I like that they're giving Ten Hag the new contract. I like they brought Rene Hake in for him. I like that they're building an environment around what Ten Hag will want. So, at the end of the day, they're finally building an environment in which Ten Hag can succeed in. Now they just need to get the recruitment in. Now they need to get the right kind of signings in, the right kind of players out. That's what they sort of need to do now. So let's have a look at these stories. Let's have a look at these news as well. He looks like also bring Ralf Rangnick back in the upper manager after he lifts the Euro 2024 trophy. If England don't win it, I want it to be Austria. I tell you what, because Ralf Rangnick doing so well with middle finger up at Man United. He didn't even bother to learn his tactics. They thought, I hadn't heard of this guy. Why should I listen about what he says? Why should I listen to what he tells me? And he's doing a very good job. I'm just going to take a sip of water and then I'm going to get into some of the transfer news, stories and more. But as you can see at Manchester United, there's a structure now of Ratcliffe's at the top with Jean-Claude Blanc, who's got a really good track record at PSG and Juventus. And then Brailsford, the smart businessman, coming in beside him. Omar Barada's top of the footballing people at the club, and he'll be working with Dan Ashworth, and he'll also be working with Jason Wilcox. And then Christopher Vivell will be working behind them in a technical director recruitment kind of role. And then Ten Hag has got Rene Hake and Ruud van Nistelrooy as his assistants, among more people that are set to come in to Manchester United. So some really big and exciting changes there. Austria can beat Turkey. Turkey, I think, are more difficult than people think, but I think Austria will beat Turkey tonight. And I have to admit, I agree with Alex here. The English media was so towards Ralf Rangnick. They didn't like him. They didn't know who he was. They thought, you know what, we don't know who he is. We don't like him. So we're going to make out he is absolute rubbish. And the English media were going in on him, and the English media going in on Ten Hag, to be fair. I don't like the English media's treatment of Ten Hag. I don't like the English media's treatment of Rangnick. I don't like them at all. But the English media have never treated Man United managers well. Any chance for them to slate Man United managers, go in on Man United managers and be disrespectful about Man United managers, they will do. So let's dive into some more news. Let's dive into some more stories coming out. So there's actually a report coming out about Marcus Rashford potentially leaving Manchester United. Let's dive into this. Man United have not ruled out allowing Marcus Rashford to leave amid possible adjustments to his representation. Rashford's brother Dwayne Maynard has held discussions with an agency to potentially assist in managing him. Manchester United have not ruled out the possibility of allowing Rashford to leave. They value him at 80 million. Now, this is reports coming out from Samuel Lutkos, who does get decent information from the club. And it has been said that Rashford is obviously looking for alternatives in his agency. Rashford's agent is looking for support, which could suggest that Marcus Rashford is looking at a move away from Manchester United. Now, remember, INEOS has said that they will not rule out selling Marcus Rashford. While Marcus Rashford isn't a priority to be sold, it's been confirmed by multiple sources and multiple Tier 1 outlets. If Marcus Rashford showed any suggestion that he'd be open to leaving Man United, INEOS would not get in his way to stop him. The only 3 players that INEOS see untouchable are Højlund, Garnacho, Maino, and INEOS also really don't want to sell the likes of Lissandro Martinez, Delot, and Bruno Fernandes. But Marcus Rashford was not included in that list, and if INEOS got in a big offer for Marcus Rashford, it's been said that INEOS would listen to it. Now, I would value Marcus Rashford at £100 million just because I think there's a lot of wingers that are really overrated in the market that are valued at £100 million. And I think although Rashford's had a poor season, we know that he's got an output of a 30-goal player, and it would take at least £100 million to get someone that could actually replace Rashford. So I personally would value Rashford at £100 million. He's been valued at £80 million, and potentially if offers come in the £80 million range, Man United may sell Marcus Rashford. But when you see like Minter going for 35 million, that's just had one season at Feyenoord, that's why I think Marcus Rashford's worth 100 million. I think Leao's apparently 100 to 150 million. Kvaratskhelia is like 100 million. Rashford, for me, is 100 million. Now, I personally wouldn't sell Rashford because I want to sell Anthony, Sancho and Greenwood first. They're the 3 priority wingers to sell. But if 100 million big comes in and he doesn't want to be at the club, you can't say no to that. But the way I see it is you've got Rashford and Garnacho on the left, Ahmed on the right next season. Now we need another player to assist Ahmed on the right. Or we play Garnacho and Ahmed on the right, and we need a player to assist Rashford on the left. I see him as one of our future wingers because although he's been poor, Marcus Rashford, and he's had 2 poor seasons in the last 3 years, he was our player of the season, or in the nominees for player of the season 3 of the last 5 seasons. He's done more than a lot of other Man United players in the shirt. And I know a lot of people like Rashford out, Trashford out. But I personally just think I know what he's capable of. And I think with the right structure, the right support, the right system, he can get 30 goals for Man United next season. I know Anthony can't. I'm not saying that Rashford will get 30 goals next season, but Rashford has 30 goals in him. Anthony will be lucky if he gets 5 as well. Selling Rashford will sort out incoming this window amortization. The thing is, the one thing I'm going to say to you guys is, would you you can sell Rashford and you can sell him for a big fee, but once if we still have the Lindelofs here, the Donny van der Beeks, the Mejbris, the Antonys, the Sanchos, because we sell Rashford. That's the one thing I'm going to say. At the end of the day, I can understand people wanting Rashford out and people wanting Rashford gone. You can get a good fee for him, but I just think that it's more important that we get the Sancho and Anthony's out first. Alex says not against Rashford leaving. Might be one of those that's best for everyone to part ways. He doesn't seem totally happy at United, and I understand that he doesn't feel like his head's here. He wants to be playing football as well. I honestly think we should give Rashford another season and make our choice. I think we should give Rashford another season as well. And I prefer creative wingers that makes it easier for the striker. What I will say is if we do sell Rashford, there's no point in bringing Zirkzee in. If you sell Rashford, there's no point in signing Zirkzee, because Zirkzee is being signed so you can get the best out of Marcus Rashford. If you sell Rashford, bring in a creative winger and get another striker that's more similar to Højlund. There's no point buying Zirkzee if we sell Rashford as well. Rashford does generate funds on our fringe players, which is annoying because there are fringe players that can generate funds, nothing special, but no one wants to buy them because they're bad as well. There is rumours of Sancho going to Arsenal as well. Yeah, there was some rumours about that, but I don't think there's much truth in it as well. If we sell Rashford, though, less pressure to make money and more chance to sell Lindelof, Sancho, etc., and make cash on them. Potentially, clubs won't take advantage of the fact that we're desperate for money. Ugarte is going to be a gem. He put his body on the line for the ball, got injured, but he's available for the next game. He's a Bruno-type player. I do like Ugarte. I didn't like him at PSG. I thought he was pretty poor at PSG, but I understand he wasn't a player for the system. But what I saw from Ugarte at Sporting, I always liked the player. And we will talk about Ugarte in a second, as Ugarte to Man United is a deal that's potentially advancing as well. I see Garnacho as a left winger long-term as well. I feel Garnacho, Højlund, Anthony Greenwood, Mount Zirkzee would be front with Ugarte and Manos at the mid. I think Zirkzee doesn't make sense if you sell Rashford. It's just annoying that potentially, we could have had Elisa and Rashford with Zirkzee facilitating them, and then you've got what would be a top front three. But let's dive into the next story on Manuel Ugarte. So, it was said, breaking. Manchester United have received the green light from Manuel Ugarte. United have also received the green light from PSG. In terms of the French side being open to selling Ugarte, it's now up to United to make an official bid. But there's reports, rumours and suggestions coming out that Ugarte to Man United almost has an agreement in principle. It said that Manchester United have received the green light from Manuel Ugarte, and United have also received the green light from PSG in terms of the French side being open to selling Ugarte. Now we've got to make a bid. So Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Ugarte has told Manchester United, look, I'm open to the move, I'm open to coming to Manchester United. And PSG have also told Manchester United, look, we're open to selling Ugarte, we're open to getting a deal done and over the line. Which says to me, Ugarte to Manchester United should be able to advance, should be able to move quickly. If we know that obviously Ugarte wants to move and PSG want to get over the line, Man United is soon going to make a bid for Ugarte. Ugarte isn't an Enrique type player, but his defensive quality, physicality and bite improves our midfield. Exactly, I agree. I think Youssouf Fofana is my first choice midfielder, but I think Youssouf Fofana and Ugarte would be really good additions. I think Ugarte hasn't been good at PSG, but people have got to remember Ugarte isn't an Enrique type player. There's a reason why Ugarte hasn't been good at PSG, and that's because he doesn't suit what Luis Enrique wants. He was signed before Luis Enrique came in, so it was a little bit unfair on Ugarte as well. But Ligt and Ugarte would, be 2 good additions. It was also said on Ugarte that Ugarte is now a serious transfer target for Manchester United. Talks put place and Ugarte can leave PSG this summer. It was saying that positive talks are ongoing between Manchester United and PSG for Manuel Ugarte, and United may send in their first offer in the next few hours. Manchester United are expected to make a concrete offer for Manuel Ugarte. United see Kobbie Mainoo as more of a box-to-box option, hence the need for another defensive pick in midfield. Casemiro is expected to depart this summer as well. Was said that we want Casemiro gone and Ugarte in. It's serious. We're expected to put in a bid. It was then said that Man United have stepped up talks with Ligt, Zirkzee and Ugarte. Talks are progressing between United and Ligt, and the club having further contact with Zirkzee and Ugarte in the last 48 hours. And then it was again said by Fabrizio Romano that Ugarte is expected to leave PSG this summer, and Man United and PSG will be in touch again in recent hours. Ugarte is open to joining United without Champions League football, was said by Romano. And Romano also added to that Manchester Manchester United and PSG are still in talks over the transfer of Manuel Ugarte in recent days and hours, and PSG are open to selling the player, and Ugarte is keen on joining United. On top of Romano then confirming that Man United have got the green light from both PSG and Ugarte to press ahead with that deal and get that deal done. Whether they do anything until Copa America's done or not, I'm not sure. Maybe Man United are going to wait until Copa America's done before they press ahead and make any moves for that deal. I'm not sure. But the fact that Man United have got the green light for both Ugarte and PSG says to me, okay, this deal should be done. And if PSG are asking for unreasonable amount of money, I just think it may wait until Ugarte's out of Copa America because he may want to focus on that as well. He did pick up an injury at Copa America, but he's apparently set to be able to play the next game. It's not a big injury as well. Ugarte is a good player. However, at PSG, he didn't fit in. He also picked up an injury at the Copa America. In my honest opinion, still think we should make some moves on that transfer. I think he's fine, his injury. I think it's only a small one. And I think he should be fine as well. I don't think it was a big injury at Copa America. I think he's going to be back for the next game. But I think Ugarte is great, but we still need two midfielders. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Manchester United need to make sure that they get two midfielders in the summer. Not just Ugarte, but you'll want a Fofana type midfielder. You want Ugarte, you want Fofana. You need two midfielders. That's what Manchester United need. Whether we'll sign two midfielders or not, I can't tell you. But we do need to make sure we go out there and press to maybe get Ugarte and Fofana, because it's just about depth as well. If Maino gets injured, Ugarte isn't a possession-based player, and then all of a sudden we've not got many options of players that are good or comfortable in possession. So that's why I like the idea of Fofana, because he could be Maino and Ugarte cover, and I think he's £25 million. So if we could get Ugarte and Fofana in midfield, that would be great, because I think Ugarte is a brilliant addition to the midfield. I think defensively he's good, but yeah, there's definitely some worries and concerns around the Ugarte deal. The likes of Maguire and Scott are ones we should really be moving on, especially after having good seasons. Yeah, they're players that we should be able to get 30 odd million for as well, so it'd be nice if we can move them on. Fofana update. The latest on Yusuf Fofana is that Man United are one of many clubs interested in Yusuf Fofana, and nothing will be decided until after the Euros. But United haven't been pursuing the deal madly. Obviously, we did pursue it a lot last summer. I'm really interested in bringing him in on loan last summer, but we seem to be more focused on getting a deal done for Ugarte rather than Yusuf Fofana as well. Numbers-wise, with CMs, we are likely losing two CMs. We need two CMs as well. Yeah, considering that Ericsson, I think, will go. Casemiro, I think, will go. Amrabat's basically gone. And McTominay could go. And Manchester United are willing to listen to offers from McTominay. They've put him up for sale. I 100% agree. We need two midfielders. Whether it's Weaver, whether it's Fofana, I want one of those two players. And then I'm happy for Ugarte to come in alongside. Because I think out of possession, Ugarte can do what we want. And I think in possession, Maino is so good. And I think it could be a really good midfield free. There's also talks that Ligt, here we go, could be in the coming days as well, and that Ligt United's advancing, and I will get into the news for Ligt. Archie Gray will come to us in a few years, let him develop at Spurs, no worries. I don't think he'll come to United because of his loyalty to Leeds and his Leeds ties and his love for Leeds and his family love for Leeds, but I think Archie Gray is, obviously, if you're not aware, Tottenham Hotspur have signed Archie Gray. That is a done deal. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think Archie Gray is a fantastic bit of business for Tottenham Hotspur. I think it's a really, really good signing. He's a player that can play right back. He can play DM. He's the next Kimmich. He's really technically good. He's really versatile. He's homegrown. He's really good on the ball. He's really good off the ball. He's got a great reading of the game. And Tottenham, I think, have struck gold with that Archie Gray deal. They've done some really good business there. So fair play to Tottenham as well. Am I Ten Hag in? Yes, he's been given a 3-year contract. The alternatives aren't that good. Tuchel's the alternative that I understood, and that wasn't happening. And I think when it got to between Ten Hag and Southgate, like the 2 days before Ten Hag was announced as that to be staying, all of the mainstream media were saying Southgate's the favourite for the job. Would you rather have Ten Hag or Southgate? I'd rather have Ten Hag. I'm Ten Hag in. He's getting the structure, and he's getting Ruud van Nistelrooy and Rene Hackey to work with him. He's all of a sudden getting the structure he needs to succeed, Ten Hag. INEOS are building around him. You've got Ashworth, you've got Wilcox, you've got Vivell coming in. I'm Ten Hag in. He's got a new contract. I want him to succeed as well. But let's go into the next story, because we've still got lots and lots of news to dive into. And this next story is, of course, on Joshua Zirkzee. It was said by Fabrizio Romano that Joshua Zirkzee has a release clause in his contract, and I believe he is 99% going to leave the club. Erik ten Hag and the management of Joshua Zirkzee held a proposal in recent days. Also, there's been direct chats between Ten Hag and the striker. Man United are willing to trigger his €40 million release clause, and he's a top target at Old Trafford, but AC Milan still in the race. No final decision has been made from Zirkzee yet, as he's focused on the Euros. So we've got more news, information and insight coming out on Zirkzee to United. There's contact going on. It has been confirmed that Ten Hag has had conversations with Zirkzee, has had phone calls with Zirkzee, and stuff is ongoing between Zirkzee and Manchester United, but he won't make his official decision until after the Euros. And maybe Netherlands go out tonight and maybe it moves, but I do think they'll beat Romania and probably go out in the next round. But I think we'll probably get some insight on that very, very soon. Guys, if you haven't already, please can you hit that like button? It really helps the channel out when you hit that like button. I really want to hit 250 likes by the end of the live stream, and we've got over 500 people watching. So if you have not already, please do go ahead and hit that like button. As Ben said, the Southgate stories with BS. I told you guys, if you've been watching my channel, I was reading out the Southgate stories and I said I got inside information that suggested we were never in for Southgate. The inside information I got 3 months ago told me that the Southgate to Man United stories are all BS. While he has a good relationship with those at the club, he was never looked at. But mainstream media kept pushing Southgate, Southgate, Southgate to United. And do you know why mainstream media kept pushing Southgate, Southgate to United? Because it got clicks, it created negative interaction around United. If you've been watching all of my live streams throughout the manager situation on Ten Hag's future, you'll know in every single one of those live streams, what did I say? I said the Southgate stories were BS. I said it's not true. I got information to say it's not true. And I was telling you that guys, that repeatedly. But other sources were trying to make out as if Southgate to United could happen. Now, the 2 days before Ten Hag was staying and Tuchel was ruled out, it was very like Southgate was going to happen according to the media. But I've always said, well, take it with a pinch of salt, because I've heard nothing. I've heard nothing about Southgate to United. And my source was correct. My source that told me that if they're going to bring someone in, it would be Tuchel. There's no other candidates that are super convincing of INEOS. And Southgate's not true was correct. My source said to me it would be Tuchel or Ten Hag 2 months before the decision, and he was right in the end. So, yeah, I think, yeah. Zirkzee links are worrying as not really progressing beyond Man United interest. Player might be keen on Milan, but Milan's still in the mix. Yeah, the worrying thing about the Zirkzee links is it's the same old links, but they don't seem to be progressing. But is that just because Zirkzee's playing in the Euros and he's busy and he's not making any moves? Or is Zirkzee just not interested in United? It was also said on Joshua Zirkzee that following Dan Ashworth's arrival, Manchester United can now concentrate on pushing through a deal for top target Zirkzee, who the club see as the perfect fit to provide Rasmus Højlund with some support up front. Talks are progressing with United preparing to meet Zirkzee's £34 million release clause. It was said that Zirkzee is very much open to joining United. He has spoken personally with Erik ten Hag. So again, it was said that Zirkzee is being looked at. Dan Ashworth's a massive fan of Zirkzee, and he's seen as the perfect partner that can obviously help out Rasmus Højlund, and that apparently Zirkzee is very much open to joining United, but no advancements have gone on. That's because apparently Zirkzee's focused on the Euros, and after the Euros, he will make his decision between Man United and AC Milan. But Man United, some sources are saying outside Man United that Zirkzee is very open to United, and other sources are not really giving us anything about Zirkzee to United. They're saying, oh, yeah, there's talks ongoing. United like Zirkzee. So it's difficult to really know and figure out 100% what's been going on in regards to that Zirkzee deal and Manchester United as well. Southgate news was clearly rubbish. INEOS are all about the best in class. Northgate is the opposite of that. Oh, Southgate, yeah, I just got what you said there as well. Alice, great ship, lots of info. Really, really appreciate that. Please do subscribe down below if you're new. I do try and make my live shows as informing as possible. I like to interact with you guys, talk with you guys, get you guys involved, but I also like to make sure it's interactive and it's giving lots of new news and updates in. Southgate can come in as a boot cleaner if he's looking for a job next month, says David as well. And Steve says, if the manager was poor for my club and country, I'd rather get a club manager sacked fast because you manage week in, week out. At least Southgate doesn't manage week in, week out. Yeah. I mean, people are saying we should sack Southgate now and bring in Tuchel, but I don't think it's worth sacking a manager mid-tournament, even though he's not going to change anything as well. Ideal Man United would be Zirkzee, Højlund, Anthony Greenwood, Garnacho, Mount, Bruno, Ugarte, Mena, Scott, Onana, Andre Shaw, Martinez, De Ligt, Delo, Onana, Malacia, Frimpong, and Salima Euro. Lots of defenders in there as well. And yeah, Alice, don't always agree with you, but great show, lots of info today. Big up Don, big up everybody in the chat. I do want to get into the next story. So look, Joshua Zirkzee to Manchester United. Zirkzee and Man United have had contact. Ten Hag's had contact with Zirkzee. Man United have had contact with AC Milan. Man United like Zirkzee. Man United will pay Zirkzee's release clause to bring him in and will give Zirkzee's agent what he wants. But Zirkzee's agreement is with AC Milan and not Man United, and he's not going to do anything with Man United until after the Euros, which could suggest he's still set on AC Milan, although AC Milan seem to be calling their interest because they're not going to pay the fee his agent wants, but his agent keeps leaking stuff to Italian media that we're going to pay the fee he wants, which could be a tactic to get AC Milan to pay the fee he wants. But Man United are looking at Zirkzee. Zirkzee would be a great addition for Manchester United. I'd love to see him in Man United shirt. I think he would get the best out of Marcus Rashford. He'd get the best out of a lot of our wingers. He'll facilitate play. He'll be more involved. And I think he's the great partner for Rasmus Højlund. But I think until the Euros is done, until we get credible reports of this deal advancing, I would take it with a pinch of salt. The next story I want to talk about is Matthijs de Ligt. It was said talks are progressing between Manchester United and Bayern Munich over a deal for Matthijs de Ligt worth 42 million plus add-ons. Matthijs de Ligt has received a contract proposal from Manchester United to sign for 5 years. An agreement between de Ligt's entourage and United is expected very soon, and Erik ten Hag and de Ligt have held multiple phone calls. So we've got news on Ugarte being given the green light. We've got news on Zirkzee now reportedly wanting Man United and open to the move. And now we've been told that de Ligt will cost £42 million, and he's expected to sign for 5 years, and he's waiting on an agreement between the two clubs. So lots of updates coming in on de Ligt, and it looks like de Ligt is probably likely going to be the first signing. And while I've never been the biggest fan of de Ligt, if you can get him for £40 million, if you can get him on to take a wage cut, if you can keep him fit, I think it is a good addition. And as been pointed out earlier, a lot of Bayern Munich fans do not want de Ligt to go, do not want de Ligt to be sold, although he is quite slow and company likes to play a very high line. Zirkzee could be a good 10 behind Højlund. Do you know what else I like about Zirkzee is he's such a different profile to Højlund that he can play with Højlund, he can play behind Højlund. I've always said this, you'll probably play Zirkzee as the number 9 and have Højlund on the bench in a game where you need a bit more attention in the final third and a bit more creativity in the final third in terms of the wingers aren't creating. But as said before, Zirkzee and Højlund could even play in the same team together, which is pretty mad. They could even play together in the same team. So, yeah, I think Zirkzee would be a brilliant signing. I think his ability to drop deep, facilitate wingers, be able to play with Rasmus Højlund as well is everything that you would want. We're going to dive into the next couple of stories, people. The next story coming in is on Wan-Bissaka. It was said that Aaron Wan-Bissaka is one of a number of right-backs West Ham are interested in. Manchester United are not actively looking to sell Wan-Bissaka, but are doing due diligence in that position, given Wan-Bissaka is in the final year of his contract. There are currently no talks over extending Wan-Bissaka's contract at Manchester United. So, again, there's more reports and news coming out that Wan-Bissaka could leave United. 1 year left on his contract. While United don't want to sell Wan-Bissaka, they're not particularly bothered about keeping him because they're not offering him a new contract. I think Man United are just waiting to see what offers come in for Wan-Bissaka. If they don't get a good offer, cool, we'll keep him for a year. He can do a job. We'll let him go for free. Or, okay, we've got a good offer in. We can get money in. We can afford a replacement with this offer. We'll let Wan-Bissaka go. I think Wan-Bissaka going depends on the offers because I think Man United will want to buy a second backup right back. So Man United are waiting to see what the offers are for Wan-Bissaka before making moves on anything, before accepting anything as well. Is Zirkzee a one-season wonder? I don't think so. He's just a young player that maybe bloomed a little bit later as well. And imagine midfield when we dominate Zirkzee, Bruno, Manuel, Ugarte, then use a back three. I mean, potentially that could work, but it'd be a risk. And I think Ugarte is a good DM. A lot of people are asking me, Alice, do you think Ugarte is a good signing? Do you think he's a good DM? Yeah. Ugarte wouldn't have been my so-called first choice at Manchester United, but I do really like the idea of Ugarte at Manchester United. I watched him for Uruguay. I thought defensively he's very good. He's reading the games good. He can cover large ground better than the tacticos are making out on Twitter. I just think when you think of that he's going to be over £40 million and Yusuf Fano is there for £25 million, I still think we've got to be smart with how we spend our money. But I do think if we get Sporting Ugarte, it's a very good deal. If we get PSG Ugarte, it's not so much a good deal. So it's just hoping that we get the Sporting Ugarte, the Ugarte that's known to be good, the Ugarte that's known to be brilliant would be the best case. Guys, please do make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, takeover news, changes and more, go ahead and make sure you subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football to stay up to date with all of that news as well. Højlund not bad at linking up either, just seems to lack a bit of confidence in the last few months. And I agree, I think Højlund's link up was really good at the beginning of the season. Højlund could have got 3 or 4 more assists. Højlund's play, his long passing, his short passing, his link up retention was really good. And then I found towards the end of the season, Rasmus Højlund's general play dropped off. And I don't know if that was confidence, the media getting to him, but it did feel like that as well. But I think his general play is starting to improve again. And I know he didn't have the best Euros, but he was on the ball movement, his ability to run and get in the right positions definitely improved. Sesko was terrible last night. Glad United aren't signing him. And do you know what? Everyone was writing off Rasmus Højlund for being bad, but I hope those same people give Sesko the same treatment they gave Højlund. Not that I think we should be writing off either Højlund or Sesko for being bad. I think they're great players who are playing on the international duty where things are very different, that, probably need a break because they've had a busy season. But, they are being hated on a bit as well, like probably overhated on. But I think, people got to realise that, it's not Højlund that's crap. It's that, Sesko didn't have a good Euros. Ronaldo's not had a good Euros. Just because you haven't had a good Euros doesn't mean you're not a good player. I think Sesko's a great player. I think he'd been a great signing for someone in the Premier League. I think Højlund's a great player. I think he's going to be a great signing for United. But yeah, I think the striker market is very bad at the moment. I think the fees you have to pay to get certain people in is worrying. And Sesko was poor last night, But at the end of the day, I still think he'll be a good player and a good signing as well. There's no chance we'll get 100 million for Rashford. Probably not as well. Højlund is decent at link up. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Yeah, Højlund is better than link up than he gets credit for. When he first came into United, I thought his link up looked quite good as well. His touch could improve. I agree with that. But I think his link up is decent. He uses his body somewhat decently. I think Højlund is a better player than sometimes he gets credit for. Like, I saw Twitter cooking Højlund after the Denmark game, saying he's rubbish, saying he can't do this, saying he can't do that. Like, Højlund was getting absolutely cooked on Twitter, and I personally thought that was quite unfair. So let me give you a roundup of all the news of all the stories. If you just joined the live show, Christopher Vivell has joined Manchester United. He's agreed a short-term deal, and the green light has been given over a work permit. He's already worked with Chelsea and the RB clubs. This is Richard Christopher Vivell's record, his history, as you can see here. Chelsea, RB Leipzig, and RB Salzburg. He's obviously been responsible for some really good recruitment, particularly young players, including Sesko Haaland, Minamino, Szoboszlai, and of course at RB, Guardiola, Angelino, Timo Werner, Simakan, all players that they got, and then they sold on for decent fees as well. So he's very, very good at picking out sort of players and young talents, and he's got experience of doing that, which I think is something that Manchester United massively need. And obviously this is the new United hierarchy. And then we got into news about Marcus Rashford leaving Manchester United. INEOS open to listen to offers for Rashford if it's in around the 80 million range. Ugarte's been given the green light from PSG, and Ugarte himself has given the green light to Manchester United, and Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that as well, which is good on Ugarte. He will leave PSG. He's open to United. United could make a bid. PSG are now waiting for United to make a bid. United have stepped up their interest in Ligt, Zirkzee, and Ugarte, so maybe we can get 3 signings done in the next week. That would be unbelievably amazing, but it is Manchester United, so my expectations are going to be a bit lower than that. And then further confirmation, Ugarte wants to leave PSG this summer, and that he's open to United without Champions League football. Ugarte seems keen on joining United, is what Fabrizio Romano has been saying on multiple occasions. You then got Zirkzee, who will leave Bologna, but who knows if he'll go to United. You got Dan Ashworth, who again wants Joshua Zirkzee in and pushing for Joshua Zirkzee potentially, and Man United will, but he could choose Milan. And then you've got the Ligt that's going to be worth 42 million. That United are hoping to get some stuff done on that deal so that he will end up being cheaper than Branthwaite. And then you've got Wan-Bissaka potentially being up for sale. So that is a bit of a roundup of sort of all the news that was sort of discussed in today's live show as well. People think Ugarte is injured, yes, but it's only a short injury. It's not going to be anything major. I think Højlund needs time to settle in. I agree. I think Højlund's a great player. I think he's getting too much stick, too much media hate. He was the lone striker. He was the lone striker the whole of last season because Martial offered no support. We couldn't get anyone else in, and the recruitment wouldn't let us get anyone else in. He should have the pressure off him. He should have the burden off him. I think he's hungry. He's very good when he comes off the bench. So yeah, I think like Rasmus Højlund it's one of those, to be honest with you guys, is, you know, just give him support striker, help him out. I think there's a good player in Rasmus Højlund. We just got to be a little bit patient. You know, there's weaknesses in this game, but there's also a lot of strengths as well. But listen, people, I'm going to wrap up today's live show. Please do go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't already. And of course, subscribe down below if you're new. I'll be back at 4 p.m. tonight. See you there. Bye.